and welcome to Garblag Games. We're playing Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition, and this is Flint and Steel! Please check out all our social media links below, our merchandise on Redbubble, and don't forget to come and join us on our Discord server, where we have a growing community of role players. Please consider supporting the channel on Patreon. A massive thank you to all those who do support us, as 10% of everything we receive through our Patreon goes to Diabetes UK. Also support us by supporting our friends. We have the Thornless Rose, who produce leather and lasery products for tabletop and live action role playing. There's the Old World podcast. If you want to know a bit more about the background, the design, and the story behind Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, then go and check them out. And finally, we have Bjørn Felle, who produces terrifying retro electro music. Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Flint and Steel. I'm Pete the Games Master.
And I'm John, and I'll be playing Sir Gael, the Bretonian Knight.
I'm Leon, and I play Corvin, the Wizard of the Empire.
Sam, Morgan, Priest of Moor.
Hi, I'm Roger, I'm playing Bagric Rolfson, the Dwarf Guard.
And I'm Lawrence, and I'm playing Torvald Rolfson, the Dwarven Scout.
Excellent. And last time on Flint and Steel, we had left you, most of you, on the main bridge between the two halves of the city, as you had been chasing a Necromancer, I think it's fair to say, across the city.
Maybe it's raising the dead, so you...
Yes.
Heretic.
From a warehouse where you had battled a horde of skeletons and someone had blasted them all, and then someone else had blasted some wraith. So there was lots of magical and divine powers going on, which was really cool. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch the last 2 episodes with that battle across those. So you followed the Necromancer, who had been shot by, suddenly, Bagric the crossbowman from afar.
Angry crossbow.
And you kind of clipped him because he teleported away.
Clipped him, I critted the bastard.
You did crit the bastard. And he had ridden away, you guys had followed after.
Unconscious.
And he had seemed to escape by jumping off the side of the bridge. And you were investigating, and Torvald was quizzing some of the traders on the bridge as to what had happened, and you'd realised that they'd heard the kind of sound of the teleportation that you had heard previously when he was standing in front of Bagric, which is, I mean, that's a sensible thing to do, to teleport away from Bagric when you're in close combat with him. But Morgan had decided to head down to go and see what was going on below. While Morgan was gone, our knight and our wizard arrived on the horse, as they had stayed to investigate the site and had found a few clues leading to the Wandien Rookery.
That explains the word I wrote down that I couldn't read.
Yes. As where this necromancer may be staying, or his refuge may be, and it also mentioned Mathilde, the lady with the bombs, who tried to kill you all in the Docker's Arms. But it only ended up blowing out one of the walls, which was another fun episode. So you guys had arrived and scared some poor people by sort of shouting at them and sort of pointing at them and saying, "What's going on with the rookery?" And they told you it was a slum full of lean-tos and kind of a shanty town on the northern edge of
It was on a map.
the city.
We had a map, didn't we?
You did have a map. And this is your map.
Excellent.
Because you guys know that the two of you have been in the city for a while. Yes, that blob. Is that,
Right at the
Where
top.
it says
that dark
number.
11.
Because it's like a sprawl. It's not one building, it's many. It's all stacked on top of each other, and it's all kind of lean-to and fairly disgusting.
So we know where we're going.
However, Morgan, you had headed down, taking the opportunity of everyone sort of investigating and being busy, with your righteous fury driving
Trying
you
to see if
onwards.
I could find where it went.
Absolutely. And you had headed down, followed the path, headed down the side towards the docks, and seen that underneath the bridge, because if you remember, the big bridge that was created by the dwarves has got this kind of slum kind of clinging underneath it, like barnacle houses almost, you know, kind of built underneath and in the arches and in the gaps. And that is called, I think it has a
An
rather...
abomination.
No, that is called the Dunkelfucht. That is the name of what's going on underneath there. And yes, you had gone down there and seen a lady with a fancy hat was ordering some ruffians about with this robed figure.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady had gone back into the establishment and they were about to do something and you were about to do something. And as you are about to do something, a hand reaches out from a shadow and touches you on the shoulder very gently. And it's a female hand, very thin and graceful, and says, in a lilting Reichland dialect, I would hold there if I were you. And as your eyes kind of adjust to the darkness under here, you can see that there is an elven lady standing in the shadows.
Kill it.
Wearing a sort of tight-fitting robe. Seems to be sort of keeping things sort of bundled up. You can't tell what gear she has, the way it's done. It's kind of quite confusing, and there's well-placed kind of straps and buckles and things. It looks all fairly finely crafted. And she has a handsome but stern face. And very pointy ears.
How far away am I from said robed bundle and minions and...
That was about 30 yards. You remember you were looking out
Yeah.
across sort of dock spaces and you could see them.
Okay,
You
so
would
I can't
take you-
get to it from here.
Well, you could do, but you'd have to run full pelt and they'd have a good chance to, like, get on the boat and push off, and then you're jumping onto a boat.
Do they look hurried?
Remember, they'd said, if we're going to fucking do this, let's
Yeah.
do this now.
Right,
And
okay.
they kind of get him in the... They don't seem to be hurting this necromancer. They just seem to be... He seems to be...
No, but I'd like to.
He seems to be severely injured, so they're clearly, like, trying to bundle him in semi-carefully as to not really hurt him that much more, but they seem to be trying to do it fairly quickly. The elf says to you, priest, I would advise you to stay a while, let them move on. I have been tracking them. I would not want their masters to get away with what they're doing.
Moore has called and I have answered. Would you keep me from my work?
Never. But I would say, is this your true work? There is a greater work to be done, to be served. In the name of all the gods. All the good gods, that is.
How sincere do I feel that she's...
Well, let's make an intuition
Yeah.
roll with a plus 20%.
Never trust an elf.
See, dwarves and elves and natural enemies.
like dwarves and...
Like-
Roger and elves.
Like humans and elves and other elves. Damn elves.
So,
Ruined
not
elven.
sure, but maybe?
There doesn't seem to be any... It's very
Yeah.
straight delivered, you know.
Push her in the river, run away.
She's on the land side.
Ah, damn it.
Stupid. She's an elf.
Therefore is stupid.
I'm going to not pull away, but certainly move up so that I can keep an eye on what's going on. Because I don't want to lose
Okay.
sight of what's going on.
Do you know one of the short folk called Torvald?
Racist.
I do.
One of my agents made contact with him in Nuln, and we have been tracking their activities ever since. We're aware that you have joined their party. I thought I would reach out to you first as a man of reason and wisdom.
Well, it's elves for you.
Please, come with me. I have a space nearby where we may talk.
If you have business with my companions, they're not far away.
I would appreciate an introduction.
Understood.
I would not want someone to do something foolish. GM to Roger.
It's not Roger you have to worry about.
Got a bit northern
Doing something foolish. She's doing something foolish, but axe to the groin is axe to the groin.
My name is Lanthea.
I believe
You feel like
I
she's-
may have heard of you.
You feel like she's, in saying that, she's giving something up to you. It's clearly on some sort of secret mission.
Well, aren't we all? Some
I'm
less
not.
secret than others.
Your friends have been storming around the city, kicking indoors and setting things on fire. It's... I like the way you're like, yeah!
Like, that's what
Morgan
we
has
do.
her own
And Morgan's just like,
cape again.
I had noticed.
And you have been tidying up after them, it seems.
We're clearly in a different film.
Which is why I thought I would approach you first. My contact has informed me that you are a measured man, someone with an even temperament, except when rightfully wronged. And she points at the boat, and you can see now that they are sort of in the boat and about to push off.
And you know where they go?
Where they go is what we need to know.
That's my question.
It's a question within a question.
We wish to follow them.
Right.
One of my agents will follow them. She points down to the river. And you can't see anything. There. And you look over and there's like a patch of reeds. A fish.
I'm coming back.
A dolphin.
Then an elf jumps out the wall.
Okay, well, if I'm glancing around, are there any of Moore's agents floating about still?
There's much to talk about. There is, as I'm sure you're aware, something afoot in this region of the Whiteland.
Something indeed.
Something that your companions helped with in Nuln. And I believe they may be useful in a larger battle brewing. She seems quite carefully thinking about what she's saying to you.
What we have dealt with is perhaps only a quarter of the problem, at best.
If that.
Nearby, then.
There is a tavern. A lesser known one. In fact, there is no sign upon the door, but my folk are more welcome there. And we go there and talk briefly.
With or
And
without?
I would
He says,
suggest
looking
that
up
your
to
friends
the-
may not wish to come inside. However, I would be willing to talk to them here if you think they would.
Can I see any of them from here?
You can see them sort of.
Up on the top.
Corvin's like dangling over the top of the over the wall, like looking up. So we shall. The camera
Yep.
pans back up
Yep.
to the top of the.
Morgan glances across. The
we see-
camera
can we see
follows
the
his
boat?
gaze.
No,
So Gail,
because remember,
hold my ankles.
because of all the
Okay.
because of all the buildings kind of clinging onto it, you couldn't see down.
Okay.
As we said last time, Morgan was only able to see because he went down lower. But the two of you were on the horse. Were you going to ride down, or are you dangling over the side?
I think we're going to aim for the bushes. Yeah. Full plate mail.
Courtney's not wearing. Oh.
What do you want to do?
I can't fly.
Not with that
Yeah.
attitude.
Not with that attitude, you can't.
Let them rig up a quick
I've now got
catapult.
the two of you in, Prince of Thieves.
How far down is it?
It's a big bridge. Isn't
That would
it?
probably kill you in Wefrup, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Can we have a look?
It's like a serious look. That's a boat with a mast.
I can't.
Yeah.
No,
I
I
would
don't
say-
mean to the water. I mean to where the slums are.
Oh, it's like down below. So Morgan's gone down to the docks level.
So I went chasing.
Between where we are and
Yeah.
the
Let's put it like
next
this. There are a
level.
lot of
sorry,
jump
the next
tests.
level down.
Yeah.
It's like 20 feet.
There's
And it
quite a
looks-
few jump tests in this, I think.
But it looks like a rickety wooden structure,
Aw.
Bagric.
I can't aim for the
What happens
bushes.
if
Be like
we drop
a
this
Mortal
cannonball
Kombat.
off the side of the
Mortal
bridge?
Kombat fatality. Jump.
I would so have chanced that.
Yes.
Well,
Bagric's just going to start running.
Okay,
so we. I mean,
do the running.
would it make him feel bad if we just followed him at a walking pace with the horse?
It's not inaccurate.
So we can see Morgan talking to a robed figure.
You can see Morgan talking to a shadow, to an
himself.
alleyway.
Yeah.
You can't see the figure
Okay.
whatsoever.
Right.
Okay, we shall leave the horse here, I think.
On the bridge?
Yes, there's a handy tie-up point, and he is a very jaded horse. He will not let anyone else ride him. So I will tie him up.
Well,
Stay.
it's his horse. He chooses what to do with it, I guess.
I think it's more of a.
You know, a little Bretonian lilt to it.
Oh,
Bretonian
we
horse.
eat the best apples. Let us go. Follow me.
I apologise to all our French viewers, or Canadian French viewers.
I'm not speaking French or Canadian, I'm speaking Bretonian.
Okay.
I'm sorry for our Bretonian viewers. Somewhere in the world of night's going. "Oh."
It's you.
And
Okay, so you follow the dwarf.
I'm going to look at Torvald and just shrug and follow.
clunk,
Sorry,
chink,
chink,
chink, chink, chink,
So, you all head down.
chink, chink, chink.
Yes. Is anyone... Because Bagric's not the fastest member of the group, is anyone going to move faster than Bagric? Does anyone want to get
No,
there before?
Very dangerous over short distances.
I'm a natural sprinter.
Okay, so you all arrive, like,
Behind Bagric.
just behind Bagric.
Just walking slowly.
really running as fast as possible. You guys are just, like, long steps. Okay. So the four of you come down onto the dock level, and you can see now, beyond Morgan, a small boat going down the river.
He's probably still quite frowny about this. He's like
it's not
watching
too
his
far away.
quarry just
But
drift.
Morgan is standing
down.
there, and is clearly
I'm going to hurriedly reload the crossbow.
looking into the alleyway that you can't see into.
I'm reloading the crossbow.
Sure. I sense your friend's approach.
Sense.
Clink, clink, clank, clank, clank.
Hearing is a sense.
Not just decoration.
I will say over yonder, Monsieur Morgan, where does the fiend go?
Downriver.
Sacre bleu.
You're going to try and shoot them
Yep,
past Morgan.
I'm good. Well,
And
they're over the side. I would have
Please don't
stopped
shoot
in a firing
Could you
position.
conjure
I would
us up
have
a
said,
boat?
As you're about to do that, you see a hand come out of the shadow and say, "I would halt, please."
Is it an elven voice?
It seems no. Make a hearing roll.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've probably never heard elves scream.
Yeah, true.
Encourage him.
It is
Yeah,
an,
but elves sound quite distinctly different to humans.
it is an elven voice.
Give me a think about
You can
it.
tell it's an elven voice.
Shrug.
Okay.
They've probably never even interacted. I mean, what
Goes
hole are you?
somewhere.
Tim. It skips across the.
To be fair, it would just disappear into the darkness, I think.
Yeah, it just goes into the.
Plot.
We have.
I mean,
so
it
we've
wasn't
got
Just
a
in the
hold
back,
is
shoot an
in.
arrow.
Yeah, and a hand come out
Which
of the darkness and say,
It,
"Please."
it wasn't a horrendous miss, but it wasn't a hit.
World's Edge or Grey Mountains?
Grey Mountains.
Grey Mountains.
Ah, so you've probably seen Wood Elves.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can. This is the
can
point where
speak
you will
elf.
discover something.
Ah, exciting.
Just a short elf all this time.
Oh, don't say that in front of Bagwit.
And axe to the face.
This is
It
where
was all an
Bagwit
elaborate
horribly
ruse.
murders everyone in the party.
Wait a minute, we're all elves!
Yeah.
Oh no!
You can speak Elvish, brother? How dare you?
No,
I'm gonna
Bagwit
hack your
is
head off.
well aware.
I know. It's mainly so you can curse at them, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah.
I know what he's trained to do. So.
And get you out of trouble.
We all know what you're trained to do.
Sacre bleu.
Okay, so there is an elven voice from the shadow. And stepping slightly into the light, you see an elven woman with a hood, as I said, tightly bound kind of clothing, and there is a sword at the belt, like a nice swept blade, and she has handsome features and sharp pointed ears that you can see in the hood, and her hair looks like almost silvery.
As a Bretonian from Bordeloo, can I tell if she is of the wood or of the sea? Is she a wood elf or a high elf?
She is of the sea.
Ah,
Dripping wet.
Yeah.
Watery.
Yes. So Torvald.
Yes, I will do a short, sort of official,
Okay.
sort of
Formal
polite,
greeting.
yeah, polite formal greeting in Elvish.
Okay.
Duck.
I rolled a 9, so I understand him. Because I speak Elvish.
Oh, do you?
Yeah!
Oh, wow. When did that happen?
At the beginning of character creation.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. You must be the one called Torvald.
Does she
Bagric will
reply?
just look at her and spit on the floor.
Does she reply in Elvish?
No, she's speaking Reiklander, so that you can...
Oh, I'm not very good at Reichspiel either. Oh, dear.
No, that's not your native tongue.
Corvin will assume that his accent is atrocious because she recognised that he was a dwarf.
Well, he's not wearing a disguise. It's pretty obvious he's a dwarf.
Yeah. And she steps out a bit further, and she's got her arms in a very neutral position. They're not like up, but they're out and just...
They're not by the sword.
They're not by the sword. She says, I believe you made contact with an agent of ours in Nuln.
Briefly.
I suggest we go somewhere where we can talk. Do you have perhaps the Falkenberg Forge?
That would be
Reloading the crossbow.
You have nothing to fear from me.
Bagric's just going to be focused on it.
As she looks around, somehow her eyes seem to skip past Bagman.
Well, you know,
not
he's
wanting
not really
to.
on high.
It's not that short. He is 4'11", which for a dwarf is very, very tall.
It is. Not for an elf, though. And she looks across at you. Ah, Master Alphabound.
Hello, I'm going to stand and move in front of Bagric. Try and just block a little line of sight.
Are you really?
Very subtly, like, oh,
It's
hello!
about subtle as Corvin ever is.
You might feel something kind of sharp prod you in the back.
Oh, I can't say that on camera.
It's his tip.
It's his crossbow.
There is something very sharp and pointy will be jabbing you in the back if you do that.
Well, in the buttocks. He's not that tall.
Hello!
I understand you
Greetings.
did well at the college in Altdorf.
Yes, I did. I'm very flattered. And you are?
Lanthea.
Lovely to meet you.
Are you going to introduce us?
She seems to be holding something, and then she says, of House Niathim.
I'm just going to move slightly forward to something
Does
to
the
my back.
Bretonian recognise the name?
We'll step around with the crossbow.
Do you have, like, law elves?
I have law heraldry.
She didn't show you a symbol.
Can I see the repertoire?
You can see the river.
I need to buy law.
What are you looking
You know,
for?
just keeping an
You
eye
can
on.
see some reeds moving down the river.
Sam. Not Sam.
That's not Sam.
That's damn it. First time I got that wrong.
God, broke out of
Oh, you've ruined my immersion.
Sorry, everyone. I'm not going to be in season 4.
Not because of that, though.
Not going to be in episode 8 of this.
Morgan,
Bagrick's going to shoot you.
what happened to that fellow we were chasing?
And you could just see Morgan staring at the river, like, down.
I suggest we perhaps go somewhere to talk a little less.
What do you want,
out in the
elf?
air.
Who said? Oh, it was
Your
No, Bagrick has just
Oh,
decided
right.
with a crossbow, kind of not pointed at it, but kind of held ready.
Sure. Your help.
Ah.
And why would we do that?
Because we have a common cause. The ruinous powers are trying to take hold in the southern
Spitting on the floor when she says ruinous powers.
And I suggest we go somewhere a little less out in the open to discuss this.
Splendid idea.
Well, after you, my lady.
So much tension. Corbin's very uncomfortable.
I'm just going to start walking.
There's an empty warehouse back there.
Very well. Wherever you wish to talk, I will talk. Where do you want to take her?
Well,
To the house? The chapel?
The warehouse.
The warehouse? Okay. So you head back across the river to the nearby warehouse.
don't forget my horse.
Not forgetting your horse. And she follows you and pulls her hoods deeper and seems to sort of untie a few things, and her cloaks kind of billow out a bit further, and she looks more like
So her figure is a little bit less.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Trying to not look too much like an elf.
Exactly. And stoops a little lower.
Plus, it's fine. I
Walks
can
between you.
stand in stride, and people tend to kind of.
Yes,
Anyway.
And I'm a knight.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
you're
and
right.
you're on your
with
horse.
with your big eagle.
Big eagle helmet.
Are you on your horse or leading it?
I'll lead it out of respect for my lady.
I was going to ride it if he was leading it.
You just sit on the horse. Corbin
look
sitting on
around.
the horse. That's fine. Okay, so you make your way back to the warehouse, and there is the remnants of the battle and the ash and shattered bones and crumbled dust on the floor. And she sort of looks around. And she's sort of looking around for you to like lead her into one of these buildings or something. She's not sure where you want to.
What else did you find?
We think the Necromancer felon was... Morgan looks so confused then.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
Corbin
because
is
I'm like,
unsure.
what did you find? And you said, well, the Necromancer. I'm like, no, we just watched
No. Where the Necromancer was staying
We found out.
Indian rookery.
was staying up in the slums up in the north of town.
They are a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
They're probably people who are down and out in desperate circumstances, but
Peasants.
that's where the Necromancer was hiding, yes.
It's a good place to hide. There are a lot of people there, as you say, in dire need of help. But it seems that those looking after this city right now have other things in mind. I understand there's someone you've encountered, well, nearly encountered before, who's made their way to this city.
Greasy bastard.
I believe this person is seeding the southern Whiteland with corruption and chaos. And
Bloody trying.
they are moving on. Or have moved on, I believe.
We believe he left the city recently. By boat. I would assume that you have a certain amount of knowledge of where he ended up. Or at least where he was heading.
Well, we intend to follow the boat. But I
Both of
believe...
them.
Both of them, yes. There are many people who work for me. Not all of them are elves.
See, I think that was intended as a, you don't have to deal with elves, but I think what Bagrick took from that is a, I'm not working for you.
We are disturbed by the ease with which these lands are corrupted by chaos. And it is clear that our influence
yes.
is required. However, your martial prowess is not to be doubted, and you have clearly been useful in Nuln.
Why, thank you. I wasn't talking.
Are you even in Nuln?
Do you know where Nuln is?
Do you know where Nuln is?
I went to Null. Bagrick took me to Null.
Oh, yes.
No, I didn't.
And now,
We went to.
We recognise
We finished it. He
that
was right.
we often develop events and are somewhat of a blunt instrument.
yes, it seems that you raise things to a crescendo, which is useful at times.
It's worked so far. Killed every bastard we've met.
Yes. Yes, I understand so. And,
Not quite.
not quite. A couple have eluded you. I apologise. I understand your reasons for seeking that particular quarry. However, I believe that if my suspicions are correct, they are headed to a place where they may gain knowledge, and I need to be sure before we enter such a location.
How long before you retrieve word from your agent?
Hours. If they're going in a certain direction towards the monastery, then we will know.
Is it monastery?
If they're retrieving knowledge, should we not prevent them from gaining it?
Yes, I, however, have not been allowed entry.
What place is this?
There is a monastery in the foothills
The monastery to who or to what?
to Verena. My position as law mistress has meant that the monks of this establishment have barred the door to me,
Proving nod.
which is narrow-minded and unfortunate.
They would not deny me.
Or me?
I believe not, which is why I have reached out to you. If these folk are headed there, which seems activities in the tunnels and heading out towards Moorsfield,
We should deny them
I believe there are
permanently.
indeed, but there are tunnels that lead from Moorsfield to the House of Humble Thought.
Is that what the monastery is called?
Yes.
Oh, didn't we hear about some disturbances in said tunnels?
Yes.
Ah, it's all coming together, monsieur.
We should definitely go there via the tunnels.
Indeed. Can you show us the entrance to these tunnels? Or does monsieur know where they are?
Yes.
Ah.
There were rumours of the undead in them.
Yes, we heard. We were going to go and smite them.
Be better to fight underground.
Maybe not for us.
Very well. I understand that this graveyard has been disturbed. I mean no offence when I say this is not my concern. There are greater concerns. For I understand that although there is an order of knights, a small order of knights housed at the monastery, I fear they will not be much to hold back these people.
These are Imperial Knightly Orders.
It is a small order of knights that I think have taken the mantle on themselves.
But, Imperial Knights, Empire.
Yes, they are Imperial warriors and mercenaries who I believe see Verena as their patron and have taken up a pledge to defend this site. It was they who barred me at the monks' wishes, and I do not wish to cause an incident beyond anything I need to. If you are unable to help me, then I will have to take other measures.
I'm sure we can take up this quest, no?
We were going there anyway.
We were. And if they are housing a necromancer, then we must inform them of their mistake.
I think the necromancer is headed there.
Doesn't
Indeed.
mean we can't get there first.
I mean, if we took the horse, we probably could. But
I don't think we'll all fit on that together.
no, I don't think so.
I don't think the river's the quickest way there.
I'm assuming they will head downriver and then make their way across the land as quickly as they can
As well,
to get clear of the city they have taken to the river.
With an injured man.
With an injured man, they will be delayed. However, he is clearly one of magical powers. His name is Moenrad First, and we have been investigating him in the city. He'd been questioning is probably too kind a word. Interrogating, murdering, killing people in the Wandian Rookery, as far as we know. To find tunnels to head towards Morsfield, for it is said there are tunnels for evacuation. These are long, winding tunnels, more natural caverns in parts than actual tunnels. And in times of trouble, those from Morsfield outside of the city can make their way unseen to the city and then seal them off. It is understood that these tunnels were used to get to Morsfield and perhaps will be used to try and infiltrate the House of Humble Thought. It is said to be built on a holy site. It's something I'm not sure about. A cave and a fallen warrior.
Probably another sword.
Possibly.
The Order of Verena does like swords, but more of a symbol than... I don't know, they are proud defenders, aren't they? Very well. So what do you say, dwarf?
Like I said, we're going there anyway. We're not doing this for you, elf.
Very well. Do it for your own reasons.
Does
But
anyone...
thank you.
Oh, does anyone know where the tunnels are? How do we get in?
I think the manling does. Say, nodding at Morgan.
Oh right, I was about to say which one.
We don't count in Bagrick's eyes.
Oh.
Haven't earned that respect yet.
Would it be faster to follow the tunnels or to head by road?
By road is probably quicker to Morsfield.
Do you have your own horse?
Yeah.
But not like a...
It's not a
It's not
charger.
Yeah, it's like a rental.
Right,
Not a battle
rental. Yeah.
Rental
I've got to
horse.
drop it back at the local...
Got it from Horseman Rentals.
Yeah,
Very
High
famous horse rentals.
High horse.
From Marienburg.
Yeah,
High horse stables.
Horseman Rental.
Yes. I can ride.
I
Well, you have a
understand, though,
go.
that you know that there are troubles in other areas, in other towns. This person, whatever his real name is, Joseph
Ayla, the weasel.
the Weasel.
Do you have a
I
copy
like
of that crest?
I do. I'll
Yep.
have a rummage in the collection of cases that I'll carry and draw out the crest that we found at the castle, showing the.
Wasn't it on one of the soldiers? I don't know. Anyway,
I can't
somewhere.
remember. Yeah, the four.
I
The
think it's been on
It was the spy dude who was keeping people sick.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
everyone. I've got law heraldry. Does that count?
Yes.
It does. You can tell us what we already know.
No, I found my role. It's
It's fine, you can tell her and like
But it was Dunkel
Grissenwald, Dunkelberg, Schultz, and the one I can't read.
Bogenhafen.
Bogenhafen, that's it.
I hear there are shadows over it.
Perhaps. She looks at it and says, troubling. Well...
Are involved with a crime family from Nuln.
She seems to be less bothered about that. I am concerned about
Demonologists.
Yes. Isn't there someone that you... anyway.
Dealt with.
Yes, that's probably the word.
One of.
Right. Very well. There are other things that I need to attend to. However, I appreciate your time. And although, as we all know, ultimately this land will fall to the powers of chaos due to the weakness of men, we must do all that we can to forestall that and keep it at bay. And she looks at the dwarves more when she says that. But yes.
Fargo just kind of a laughing snort when she says that.
I think she insulted us. Well, not me, because I'm Bretonnian. I don't come from these lands. You.
Did say the lands of men.
Well, Bretonia's fine. Jewel of a land.
It's more strength than you give them. They've got more strength than you give them credit for, elf.
Perhaps.
He really doesn't like it.
Still, it should always be full.
Of course.
I can tell.
Till the end. Whatever the end is. Wherever that may be.
Well, then, if we're done, I believe we may be wasting time. Shall we move?
Indeed.
She nods. And leaves.
I will quickly follow as she leaves,
Okay.
scribbling a message. Well, scribbling the same contact details we've given them before to the
Your mobile number.
the hammer,
Yeah, got-
Email address.
oh, the axe and hammer.
the axe and hammer,
Right, okay.
and I will it very
Thought they'd love an elf
shortly in Elven. You know,
Yeah.
For a good
if you
time.
need to pass a message, pass it here. I would suggest that you use one of your local agents.
She takes it.
And I'll turn back to go with the others, and I'll just leave with the message. May the gods of the Assyrian watch over you on your travels.
She cocks an eyebrow. And turns and leaves.
Well, as soon as Torvald starts walking off to go chat to the elf, I'm just going to walk into the warehouse where the dwarf body was.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's still there.
Yeah. You didn't move the body or, like, put it in a weird pose or anything?
No.
I don't think we did. No.
No, we were looking around the office.
I chopped off his beard as a trophy now.
Well, and that's how things escalated. And that's when Bagric murdered him.
There is
Both of you two down now.
So was there anything actually on the dwarf? Because I didn't really get a chance to look at it.
No, he stripped him naked.
Craftsman's tools. And a hand weapon and a bit of loose change or something. But you could tell that this was probably the dwarf that you'd been referred to as someone who may craft explosives.
Does he have any, not, I would say, personal identification, something that a dwarf might carry that would be a clan marking?
Like a rune token.
A rune token for a clan marking, or a guild marking, or something like that.
There is. Let me just make sure.
Something that might tell us where he came from.
I got the wrong name last time, didn't I? I said Aganazar, but I actually meant
His name is
the other one.
Aganazar 2.
Harataki.
Oh, I like that name.
Yep. The Harataki clan.
Harataki clan.
Harataki.
I'm going to stick him
Harataki,
over my
Harataki.
shoulder.
This person had been kicked out of the engineering guild.
Yeah.
Just to
but
just to let you know, still a dwarf.
Still a dwarf.
Yep. Okay. And you had found some other effects and things, hadn't you? In
Mainly papers pointing towards the window rookery. Look at the window.
Well, as time is of the essence, so we go.
Would you look like you need someone to look over you, manling?
Oh no, I am sustained by my lady's favour. I am ready for battle at all times. How about you, Monsieur Applebaum?
You can look over me, Bagrick. Off we go.
If you
I was just like Morgan's head shake. Oh, it's in character all the way.
did we decide if we're going through the tunnels or
No,
through
we're
the
not going
road?
to the tunnels.
Through the road, so we can take the
The
horse.
tunnels are for an emergency. Basically, this whole area has either been assaulted by Bretonians or orcs
Damn,
and
fucking
greenskins
straight
at some
it
point. So basically, there's lots of sort of
Hence, prisoners of
tunnels
war.
dotted through the land that
We
if
don't
you
talk
know the certain way through, you can get back to the city from certain points outside.
So we ride ahead and warns the monks this guy is coming. We could probably get there faster. On Brutus. That was
An elephant?
I'm just going to start walking towards where we're staying.
okay.
Falkenberg Forge.
That's probably where my horse is.
Okay, it is.
Well, get on, and we will get there faster.
I'm going to get the breakfast sauce.
On.
Okay. So
I mean, Morgan, we could probably fit another one on.
No.
I will walk.
Then we'll meet you there.
And they ride off into the city. Okay. You're very good at that. So you're just going to ride off and leave these guys walking behind?
Well, they were going somewhere, they're going somewhere, and we're going to go and warn the monks.
No.
Well, we're going to get your horse,
yeah.
and then warn the monks.
Which is where they're going,
Yes.
to the Falkenberg Forge.
And where my horse
Isn't
is.
time
Yeah, I think
of
we'll
the
just wait
essence at
for
this
them.
point?
We can gear up.
We're geared up.
So, Gail, we can eat soup while we wait for them.
I thought we were trying to get there as fast
You
as possible.
ride back to the Falkenberg Forge,
It would be wise to wait for our friends.
where Corbin needs to saddle his
Jeez.
horse.
Oh, it takes you about 8 years to saddle your horse, doesn't it?
Does the strap go here, and does that go in the...
Do you need any assistance?
While you're saddling your horse, the rest of the party arrive.
You find me looking
anyone
very
else there?
angry. Been here for an
It
hour.
seems to be quiet at the moment.
No one else is
Yeah,
around.
as if people are about.
Oh.
Oh, Tangerman's there, and his bodyguards are upstairs. Because he's...
Alright, I'll shout for
Infernal.
someone.
Bonjour.
What do you want? Shouts the dwarf. Remember there was his dwarf.
In Kazalid, got a dead dwarf.
So now we're fresh out.
There's two in the cupboard under the stairs. No. He comes down the stairs, so it's you. Did you kill him?
No,
Oh.
I think it was the undead.
He suddenly seems to like...
They're dealt with.
Right.
They're dead. I'm
Right.
just going to kind of unceremoniously dump him on the floor.
You want me to take care of him?
I feel like someone at the Axe and Hammer someone probably knows this bugger.
Right, we'll send a lad to pass a message.
Thanks. I'll nod and kind of walk off to his room.
Okay. You're going to gear up.
Yep.
Get all your stuff, saddle your horse,
Brush my horse.
brush your horse.
That's what's taking
That's
so
what's
long.
taking so long.
It's time for the casual chain to get the plate on.
Okay.
Ooh.
Formal plate.
No, there's nothing formal about this. It's just...
But no, it's like you're going. It's like your Sunday best. You're going to battle.
Oh no,
Put your
it's
plate
not the
on.
one with the little armoured boat.
That would be awesome.
I really hope dwarves have armoured boats.
They got big beards. You wouldn't know.
No, you have armoured beards.
Yes.
You put it on the outside of the beard so you can see it,
Of course. Sorry.
obviously. Otherwise your beard would get caught in it.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I'm also from the room going to recover from our crate that we have some more healing potions.
Okay.
So I will retrieve 5.
Corvin's a little worse for wear.
You're not supposed to tell them you're injured.
Would anyone like to roll
because
perception rolls
I
to see if they
I
notice?
gave him a
Just to remind everyone, a few hours ago, I nearly bled to death.
Oh yes, he's got blood all down. You've got to change a robe.
Oh, I thought that.
You've got a spare robe.
I thought the blood didn't hit him because he had his etheric armour.
Oh, yes, yeah, no, that's true.
So I can't tell he's hurt.
No, it's just all over me.
You're all aware that Corvin was like spraying blood out of
No,
every
I
orifice.
am aware.
Bagric had run off already by that
But
point.
Bagric
and Segale were
we're in a
fairly
building.
True,
oblivious.
but you came outside and there was blood everywhere. So someone was bleeding when there were skeletons around. So probably these lot.
Oh, I suggested help to.
Yes, you did.
And he was just
brave.
Stand still.
I'm very tired.
He's just waiting to get shot again.
Stand still. Right, you can do a heal on him. Or you can do a spell.
33, which is a pass.
Critical.
Oh,
Critical
there we go.
success.
That is a
And what
pass
were you
for my
doing?
heal check.
He was healing.
Heal. So, I think it's your intelligence. Bonus
plus heal.
plus.
Remember that you can actually do
success
healing,
levels.
I can do a healing spell.
You can do a heal spell.
Not loads.
Gun shy of the
Like-
last.
Yeah, I gotta heal myself. 10 bleeding
What did you
conditions.
say? Intelligence bonus plus success levels. Well, I don't think there was a whole success level in there, so that's
Also,
only
going to
3.
grab a bunch of poultices.
But you got a critical success.
I did.
So we're gonna add a success level.
4.
Hooray.
From the skill.
How many wounds?
4 points of
Shit.
life.
Let me just check it doesn't say double or something.
Probably doesn't specify.
How's the girl
Probably
looking?
doesn't. No.
Fit as a fiddle.
No, I'm quite badly injured. But I just don't show it.
Well, you do because you
do.
hurt and you've
I
got
mean-
blood and you're.
But I'm stoic.
Yeah, you're not acknowledging it, but everyone else can see that there's blood all over your armour.
My faith in the lady's just.
It's fine because I'm going to fail this one, and then I'll be
Don't
like,
worry,
yeah,
Segale.
he's fine.
I shall heal you with magics.
Here we go. Here we go.
Mercy.
I go to get my horse.
I suggest using all your magical power.
Unlimited power.
Miscast, 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 miscast,
I'll just use this warp stone.
Great idea.
I do have to channel it.
I've got some in my dwarf hair bag. There you go.
How much do you want me to roll for the channeling? Because I need to channel. Because it's
I'm not going to make you roll for the channel. I'm going to make you roll for the spell.
Well, you are.
just roll for the
'cause
cast.
Yeah.
Come on. You want a big miscast here. Good job.
That was a 98.
I just failed the casting.
Fortune point for a reroll.
Or you could just do it again.
Nah, you can.
You can just do it again.
He's got the faith of the lady.
I do have the faith of the lady. Gives me a 5 up
That was
instance.
nearly 99. That would have been.
Hilarious.
Gives me a 5 up.
Oh, may as well. We're probably not combating. So fortune point, yes.
I like
Or you can
Reroll.
just wait 10 minutes and do it again.
Just let me get my breath back.
rather than using a fortune point.
That's a good idea. You could just pretend it's
not in
working
combat.
for 10 minutes.
getting your plate on.
Miscast, come on.
Oh, that is actually
52.
a pass.
It's going to
yeah.
be problematic. So yes, I am putting my plate on. I'm then going downstairs and seeing if I can, seeing if in the stable, the forge of the
bonus
stable,
plus willpower bonus.
the stable of the forge,
Yep.
there is a small cart and a pony.
We've got a cart.
You've got a cart.
Oh,
We
just-
can't drive it, but we've
Yes,
got
I
one.
can.
Oh, can you?
How do you think I got it?
We nicked it from the. I mean, liberated it from the
fine,
Sansavinos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can drive it
14.
Thank you.
because that is the only way that
14.
you and me
14.
are going to keep up with them.
So
Horse,
back on
horse, us on foot in full plate.
Okay.
Got faith.
So you've got 2 armoured dwarves in the back of a cart.
Oh no, we're at the front of the car.
Is that the start of a joke?
One of them says to the other.
Do dwarves ride like war ponies or anything in Warhammer World?
No, they
That's
don't
not a
trust.
They don't do
trust
cavalry.
They,
well,
they
technically,
ride large pigs.
they do have a form. It's called a gyrocopter.
Ah, yes.
However, if we've got one of those stashed in the back of the forge,
I want one.
You're not having a gyrocopter. Not yet.
That's what you think.
No, Roger.
Okay. So,
Like Gromrel
I don't think
Panzer.
there's ever been rules for them. Oh, my Gromrel Panzer. That was my Empire character's dream.
So, you gather all your gear, get your equipment, heal. There's a beautiful song and white dancing light surrounds you and sort of suddenly goes into all your wounds and they seal up.
Ah.
Which
You know
looks
you
a
can
whole
do it
lot
on
more
yourself
fancy
as
than
well.
what I did.
Yeah.
Just pat him down and maybe tie a couple of bandages on.
You're like, oh, thanks.
So yeah, as everyone's gearing up, Bagrick will kind of walk down with a crate and
Okay.
will hand everyone a healing potion and a healing poultice.
Ooh.
Look at that. Dishing out.
Thank you, monsieur.
Does that mean you're about to fight the boss?
Yeah, Bagrick.
Shit. Yeah. Bagrick hands you a healing potion with one hand, but he's got his axe in the other.
And while they're distracted, taking a healing potion, nah!
No, just like you're in a fight and you're whacking someone and you go, oh, I don't want this to end just yet.
Drink this. Oh, I've got some wounds back. Ah!
Probably good for interrogations.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You can only do it once, so
What,
it
axes?
doesn't. You can only do like
Yes.
one per wound.
Encounter. Yeah.
Encounter.
So that would count as one thing.
So Gale, hurry up. Spends all day putting on his armour. Right.
Okay, so you're all ready. And you're going to ride out of the city.
Yeah, that's not going to look suspicious at all.
Okay.
An armoured knight, a priest, a wizard,
So?
and 2 dwarves. Nope. I think that sounds perfectly legit.
You can head through the precinct, but that's kind of like...
Whatever's the quickest way.
That's got lots of the soldiers, and that's where all the Altdorf troops are.
What's this closest
Barracks.
small gate?
We could go
The
through
east
slums.
gate, and then you kind of head round.
What's the quickest way?
Straight through large amounts
There's-
of people who are
there's a
going to
bit to
ask
the-
us difficult questions.
Yes,
So,
that
no.
one.
Axe to the groin?
So you can come
That's
up,
the most direct. I
come
wouldn't
up,
say it was the
up
quickest.
through here, but that's the precinct where all the
That would
soldiers are.
be-
No one's going
Or
to
you can go
stop
round there
this
and
is
just
the
walk
other
round
way.
there.
Would you use that option?
And here's Moore's Field.
Can we?
I'm just letting him
Can we
drive.
not
so-
go like along the river?
You could go along the
Gate
river
that way?
and get out that way and head round there.
That would be a more sensible route
Okay.
to exit the city by, I think.
Sure. Skirting around Black Rock, the big castle that's kind of sitting there against the sky. It's sort of getting dark.
Gives us another view, gives us an outside view of that area as well as we pass it.
Yep. You make your way past, and you can see there are lots of lights on in the castle, and people clearly moving about in there, things going on. You know that the general and the, what's her name? Lady Nucht are housed up in different parts of that building with all their
Is that the
attendees.
Altdorf
And,
lot?
yes, that's the Altdorf people. They're all
Military
up in
and
there.
civilian, effectively.
Yes.
Administration.
Excuse me. So you head round through the Toybrucker region, along the docks, past the Dockers Arms, and a rowdy tavern called the Cat House, and you make your way along the dock front to the edge of the city, where you can make your way out of a gate by the river. You can get out of the water, via the river itself, or on foot along the side of the river. And as you make your way out of the gates, you can see that the path turns to the right and the river kind of flows on ahead of you. It's coming past you though, so it's flowing.
So we're walking upstream.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the path curves around the wall to your right, sort of following the wall up as it sort of heads up slightly sort of low sort of hills, undulating land. It's not, nothing too hilly. And you sort of make your way up that way. You can see people moving about. There's the odd horse with rider or cart kind of making the late, final
There
passage
are
into the city.
small holdings and there are
all
small
kinds of stuff dotted all around.
dotted all around the sort of outskirts. Yeah.
Hagrid's going to fire up a pipe.
Oh,
Fancy.
yeah.
Trying to cash up the situation somehow.
Is it a long?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, like a long, not like a little stone, dwarven stone.
No, a fancy long wizard stone pipe.
Okay. An elven pipe. An elven wizard pipe. Anyway, so you head up.
So I'll take the lead then, I guess.
Okay. And after a while of travelling, you can see ahead over a bridge the kind of sprawl of Moore's Field, and there is a central kind of temple building, and then there's like a low wall all the way around the outside, this large area, and you can see now that it's kind of clearly expanded at times with this kind of like a smaller concentric wall, and then sort of sections come off it, and there are graves and
Is there any
mounds and
obvious disturbance from...
well, as you're coming to this area, you can see there are less
Because I will
people.
intentionally skirt closer.
Okay. Less people seem to be moving in this area. And as you approach, it does seem
Quiet.
very quiet. Normally, in these places, there are people tending the field, looking after it, making sure things aren't overgrown, moving around, helping mourners, do all that kind of stuff. The kind of initiates of Moore's faith.
Yeah, there's usually a few.
There don't seem to be any of them around.
Bagrick's very badly humming a little tune.
It's fine.
I'll tell you how bad it was shocking.
So, intentionally skirting close to it, because
But not the front gate.
I know it's kind of on the way, but Morgan is somewhat torn at this point because he definitely wants to go and sort that out, but he also needs to get that guy. And if the guy is going to where we're going, we would do well to be there first. I'm gonna make a roll.
Random roll.
I'm gonna, yep.
So you think that the tunnels that might lead to the monastery would be beneath the temple?
But at the moment, we don't need to use the tunnels to approach the monastery because we're just going to approach them and be hi.
Absolutely. But it may be that
Don't mind
something
our
else is approaching.
non-suspicious party.
Well, we can
we're the
warn
least
them of that, and if they
suspicious.
don't listen, then we can come back and do it ourselves.
It's one way back into the city.
How...
Yeah, we got to find a way to get the horses.
Okay, so...
It's no wonder way.
It just seems deathly quiet.
Good.
Hey, referencing.
Apart from some bad humming.
And there is a little tree standing by a large grave, and you can see 3 ravens sitting in that tree, staring at you. One of them flies off.
One of them. Okay, so odds, we carry on. And evens, because there's 2 left. We stay here.
Okay.
Morgan, what think you?
We continue.
Click, clop, click, clop, click.
I'll come back.
I'll be back.
Didn't even realise you'd gone.
Okay. So you know that there's like up in the foothills beyond, sort of off up that way, that there's this monastery. You've been told, and there's sort of tracks and little roads leading you up there, and you spend your time sort of travelling. Let's have a
Perception check.
No. This is more of a outdoor survival role.
Oh, it's so
Hey,
exciting!
do you know what? I don't have that because I'm not a hunter.
Don't worry, you've
Or a
got
ranger.
Torvald.
Or any sort of, survivalist type character. I'm a
Bagrick's just-
priest.
Hold on, when you say, is this for like navigating our way?
This is making it can be navigation or outdoor survival.
Oh, even better.
Oh yeah, no, if it's navigating, Bagrick's not paying attention.
yeah.
Well, I'm on the cart with him, so...
Sure. You don't need to.
This is the point where Torvald is somehow driving a cart with one hand, which is largely letting the horse take the cart where it's following the others,
Yeah.
and sitting with several maps on his lap and
Cool.
scratching away.
Yep.
But yeah, navigation
His
or
bag is
outdoor
in the
survival.
back of the car.
No, I'm sat next to Torvald.
Oh,
I've got
okay.
a crossbow on my lap.
He's
Basically,
holding
just
one of
kind
the
of go...
maps so it doesn't blow away.
Occasionally,
Yeah.
Torvald's like, hold
like-
that, pass this, and Bagrick's like...
Right.
For the rest of the time, he's just kind of sat there quite quietly.
I believe in
I'm
you.
very intelligent. I should
are.
be fine. I was educated. I
Navigation?
probably read a book
Yes.
about the outside.
You have read a book about the outside. It is green and
Yes.
there are trees.
But the,
And there's a tree.
I spy with my...
Nice.
0 successes.
Okay, so you passed.
Yeah.
On navigation.
Outdoor survival.
Outdoor survival.
I am alive and I am outside.
I passed
Good job. You have passed.
navigation
I didn't realise we were making navigation tests.
with 2 success levels.
Okay. So, you spend a few hours heading up through the foothills. And all you have is a steer from there and a few comments from Rupert Ebenhauer, if you remember,
Yep.
who'd mentioned where, roughly, sort of up in the foothills. And you make your way up there. This is obviously some sort of retreat where they don't want a major road going past it. This is a place for idle contemplation. Is that the right word?
Depends how you spell that.
Yeah. And quiet thinking and reading of texts and protection of knowledge. And you make your way through the foothills. Torvald successfully, taking the cues from the few people you've spoken to, gets you heading in the right direction. And you can now see up in the hills this low kind of structure sitting on a hill. It's clearly got a good view. It's got like a large kind of square rectangular structure with walls around it and kind of tiled roofing. And you can see sort of light from within maybe a courtyard or cloister or something. Sort of up on the hill, and it's dark, and it's night, and it's rain, and there's clouds, and off in the distance there's sort of a rolling kind of storm coming in.
It's legit a dark and stormy night, and the rain's coming down in torrents.
Corvin, you can tell that storm is not going to come near you. It's sort of pushing past in the distance across the hills. There's lightning in the distance, and it looks quite cool. You've got like a light rain where you are, like a drizzle.
So it's not enough to put my pipe out.
No, it's like, and you're like going, struggling.
It's not
going to
make you rusty.
Good Dwarven steel.
Corvin, you notice as you're going, even though it's dark, and everyone else is kind of like focusing on the journey and being rugged and trying to look cool with his crossbow and his pipe. And you're kind of going along, sort of looking around. Oh, isn't this nice? All trees. Oh, yes, outside.
Oh, nature.
And you see, as you kind of have to make your way sort of around like a low depression and a drumlin in a hill, you come around a corner and everyone's kind of busy on the monastery up there. And you kind of see off to the side, it looks like small dead bodies clustered like by a rocky outcropping, like almost as if they've been piled or jammed in under like a rock with
How unusual. Can I take a closer look?
You certainly can.
Are they small bodies like small human bodies or like small animal bodies?
They look humanoid,
They look humanoid.
and as you approach, it seems that they are goblins. There are dead goblins piled up under a rocky outcropping, like someone sort of swept them under the
Like they're
carpet,
trying
as
to
it were.
hide them.
Or just stuff them somewhere out of the
Have
way.
you noticed them?
You notice Corvin.
Right, it's the where's the wizard going?
Yeah, the wizard is riding away. Like,
I
what's this over
will
here?
dismount.
It's because it's dark, and
Yeah,
you guys aren't, Yeah, sure.
Can see in the
Paint
dark.
it.
Yeah,
Can
no,
I see
sure.
where he's going?
But you're not paying attention.
And
So,
I would
Right,
like-
if I see the wizard bugger off,
absolutely. You then turn around and go, oh, Corvin's buggered off. What's
I
going
would
on
like
over
to
there?
cast light to get a better look at this.
Okay. As Bagric turns around, you go,
This card.
Pass.
pass.
Very good pass.
Very good
It's
pass.
very bright.
It's very bright. And there's a,
I have a lantern.
It's shattered.
bullseye.
Right.
And there are probably...
How many goblins am I estimating? Looking at.
Oh, you there are
Is
probably
it
a dozen.
hundreds?
If only we had Alvin.
Hundreds. There are 4,000 goblin bodies stuffed in it.
Alvin would know exactly.
Yeah. There are maybe a dozen that you can kind of,
Yeah.
kind of stuffed into. Like, it looks like someone's just kind of gone, where can we stuff these bodies and
I
get
would
them out
like
of the way?
to try and establish a cause of death. Did this rock fall on them?
as you look around, it's kind of like the side of the hill, and there's like a rocky sort of outcropping jutting out, and it's like there's like a little space underneath. And as you sort of look around, you cast light, and now all of you are like sort of looking around. You can see that there are horse hoof marks, people moving around, like footmarks. Torvald, it looks like this is the scene of some kind of
There has been a fight here.
fight here.
Yeah.
Morgan. If someone had battled goblins, why would they then stuff all the bodies into one position here?
Better than leaving them in the road.
Should have burned the bastards.
How fresh are they? I mean, given that goblins aren't going to smell brilliant to start with, is there obvious rot?
No.
So this is fairly recent.
Fairly recent. Yes. Everyone make perception rolls.
Failed.
Yes.
I'm wearing a hat.
I've not got my helmet on at the moment.
The hat.
Okay.
It's a lot harder to smoke a pipe with a full plate.
That's true. You mean you don't have an armoured pipe?
I do, but
Yeah, like...
it's like kind of get it through the very small pipe slot.
Yes, okay.
It's an emergency induction port.
Who passed?
Yes.
No, I'm also wearing a hat.
Yeah, I
Two
passed.
dwarfs. Okay.
Wearing a hat.
Well, that's appropriate. You
I'm
hear...
looking at my staff.
There's lightning, there's thunder, and then there's a drum.
A drum.
Somewhere.
In the Duke.
No.
They are coming.
Is it a human drum?
It's a drum.
Yeah, but is it like a kind of tune, or is it just like
Okay.
Like, somewhere in the distance.
more like a war drum?
Sounds a bit like a war drum.
The lightning's getting closer.
The rain will miss us. It's okay. The storm will
Drums.
miss us.
Sounds like a war drum to me.
Where there's one, there's more. Where there's more, there's trouble.
It's always bloody more Groby.
This is not a place to be at this time.
You all know that greenskins plague this area of the coming through the mountain pass. They often
Aye.
find the Bretonians, often coming through here. This land is riddled with greenskins more than beastmen.
Their,
Perhaps we...
their numbers will be more use to them here than us. We should move on quickly.
wise words. What I was going to say.
The manling should have burned the bloody
that's what I
thing,
was gonna
so...
say. Perhaps it was very recent and a fire may attract attention. Anyway, so you get back on your horses. You're going to head up.
Put the pipe out.
Right, so you're now making your way up through these kind of sort of hillocks, and there's a bit of rocks sort of dotted around, and you're having to sort of find your way a bit more
Stick to
carefully.
paths.
Yeah, Bagric is paying a lot more attention now.
We'll have outdoor survival rolls from everyone. Torvald, you can make a navigation roll if you want.
Outdoor survival.
Okay.
I believe. No, I don't.
Yes. Either one.
Okay, so Torvald, you're mainly directing and saying, if we go there, go that way, that will shield us from that side. Corvin, occasionally you're like, oh, I think I found there's a way round this rock over here, you know. You're sort of wandering off on your own and it happens to pay off, rather than there being a screaming horde of goblins. A couple of times you hear distant drum, and then a few minutes pass, 5-10 minutes, and then another drum. It's like you can kind of catch it on the wind every now and then.
It's more almost.
It's coming from the west.
distant. It could be distant thunder, but it definitely isn't.
Yes,
It's a drum.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bagric's just going to be paying attention, trying to spot the goblins. He's not really paying attention to the...
Okay,
way we're
as
going.
you make your way up, you're getting very close to the monastery. It's on a hill, it's in a fairly good defensible position, and it seems that the walls around it are sturdy and strong. And there is
One way up.
there is one way up.
Yeah.
There is a big front door that looks like reinforced oak with steel banding across it. And there is a on the road up this hill, there are small statues and things to Verena dotting the pathway up this road. The wall and the frontage of the building itself is fairly plain. There are no windows in the walls or slots or anything. It seems that the roof has kind of skylights in it, maybe to allow light in during the day, or the cloister will allow light in. But there is...
it's defendable,
from
but it's
the
not
front,
designed to be...
Well, on the front there are two small sort of tower buildings and low structures. Those have arrow slits in them. The rest of the building is just secure. There's only one way up. The rest is kind of, you can see it's been either collections of trees, cut down trees and stuff have been jammed in as sort of little palisade-y type things, or rocks have been gathered to make areas unstable around the outside of it. So it looks like it's actually fairly well secured, and you're kind of standing in the death zone heading up to this place. And there's light in the little arrow slits of these two front buildings where there's obviously some sort of gatehouse. And occasionally you see someone moving in front of that light, so you can tell that there are people moving around.
How close are we?
You're still a little way off, so you've got some time to talk amongst yourselves, think about what you're doing, listen for more drums. Up to you.
When we kind of get within like 150 yards, Bagric will go, "Hey up, manlings!" Because we'll see them before they see us, because we're approaching from the dark without a lot of light.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unless he's still got his torch on.
How long does your torch last? Or are you turning it off when you approach?
Just casually Gandalfing
that's a
it
good
on.
point.
Half hour.
Half hour.
Are you just
35
leaving
minutes.
it
It's
on?
probably gone. It's probably gone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Probably gone by that time.
Bagric's being sensible and calling out so they know we're not a bunch of goblins trying to sneak up on them.
Sure. Who goes there? Says a steely voice.
I am Corvin Applebaum, licensed wizard of the Empire. And this is my retinue. Segale of Bretonia. Morgan, a priest of Mor. And brave warrior dwarf Bagric. And Scoutmaster. I'm now running out of, aplombs to throw in. 12 hours.
Bloody manlings.
Greetings. What brings you out here to the House of Humble Thought this late in the night?
Well, one, refuge, but also a warning we bring. We believe a ne'er-do-well, a necromancer... Spit.
He spits.
Yes, Bagric would spit. I was adjusting the glove.
is heading this way.
Cold in here tonight. A necromancer is heading this way.
An in-disguise necromancer, so you wouldn't know him to be a necromancer.
We've had a messenger from the city this night. Fought goblins on the road,
Aye, we saw him.
but no necromancers have arrived.
Not yet.
Thank you for your warning.
Can we come in?
They're cold and wet. They need shelter.
You wish to enter?
Yeah, we'll kind of keep moving towards them so you can kind of move into the light so they can see us.
Okay.
Or if they're coming when I think they're coming, you'll want us on that side of the wall, manlings.
There's a pause, and then silence, and then you hear kind of, and you see that in the big double doors, a smaller door is open.
It's not a trebuchet, though.
Fish in the
There's a cow.
Wrong side of the border, John.
What? And a door opens, and a man in plate armor, with his he's got his sword drawn and he's got his shield, and he's. Let me see you. Step forward, and another couple of guys come out with kind of torches, and they all seem to be wearing they've got owls on their tabards.
Owls.
Mm-hmm. An owl on their tabard.
I dismount and step forward.
Yeah, Bagric will hop off the wagon and just walk forwards. We'll probably hear him before they see him.
Yes.
I'll dismount and lead the cart forward. On foot.
Very well. I will send for the priestess, and it is up to her whether you may enter or not. She is in charge of all that goes on within these hallowed walls,
As it should be.
and we are merely her servants.
In Cazelid, Bagric's going to quite quietly say to Torvald, I wonder if we can add another to the collection.
I will sort of look at him, probably over the sort of round the cart, shake my head, and I will
Cazelid.
in Cazelid, and in Reichsville I'll say, if it helps, we also carry a message of a brother of yours, one who has done great works in the name of Verena.
It might. He says, wait here. And you're kind of standing there, and there's kind of this rain, drizzle, and these guys are kind of looking at you. That's a good sound effect. They look like seasoned professional warriors. Almost like mercenaries. They look a bit rough. They've got cuts and scars, and one guy's got, horrible kind of, he clearly can't grow a beard on one side of his face anymore. But their armour looks well served and their tabards are clean. It's kind of this weird juxtaposition. And they're kind of looking at you with a kind of calculating look of true warriors. You guys, Bagric especially, you recognise.
Yeah, picking up on what they're trying to do,
Segale.
Bagric will kind of sling his crossbow and take out his shield, just kind of holding it casually, but so they can see that we're not just random scrubs.
Sure.
I think it's pretty obvious that we're not random.
They're looking at, they're giving you the odd look as
Full
well. But
plate
you're
armour.
kind of standing there.
Three of us are in full plate.
They're in plate armour as
Yeah,
well.
but they're
what
only
do they tell us?
manlings.
Sure.
Imperial ones are there.
Got many goblins up here?
Best kind of manlings.
All the time. Bloody greenskins.
He spits on the floor.
I hate them. Ah. Did you hear the drum?
Aye.
Bloody drum.
Found
Is that the Groby?
I'm going to find whoever's playing that drum and... I don't know. Anyway, we're told not to leave the grounds, and we will do as we're told. Catherine is wise in all things, so we will follow her words. And after a while, the first guy comes back with...
awkward small talk roll.
Yes. Yeah. Make a roll.
Oh, actually,
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh, yeah. So
How's the weather?
where'd you get your armour repaired?
passed.
Where'd you get your armour repaired? Recommend Falkenberg Forge.
For all your armouring needs.
Yeah. The first chap comes back with a woman, and she's wearing simple robes. She has a necklace around her neck, which has an owl symbol on it, and she has a...
Have we seen that before with any of the other Verena stuff we've seen? Because we've seen more
No.
of that than probably any other.
Yeah, you've seen
the
more...
last Verena priest wasn't.
No, you've seen more
but we've
scales
seen
and
Verena priests
swords.
in other stuff.
But
as
you
well.
know, Torvald especially, and obviously Morgan, that Verena is also the protector of knowledge, and the symbol of wisdom is the owl. So it's not an uncommon symbol for Verena.
Oh yeah, no, I was just wondering if Bagric
Follow
meant.
Verena. Right.
Oh yes, of course. Many magisters of the Grey and Light Orders do. And she sort of looks you all around. Well, a very interesting group of travellers have come to our door this evening. I welcome you to this house of humble thought, where we will repose upon all the gifts that Verena has given us, and seek to protect it from those who would do ill with it.
Does that mean we can come in? Bagric will say, not too quietly to Torvald.
Yes, Mr. Dwarf, you may come in. And she walks into the building.
Splendid. Follow.
Okay. So as you go in through the front door, you're in a... there's a kind of tiled floor, big flagstones, leading up to what looks like some sort of temple at the back, a set of stairs going up, some nice shrubs kind of pruned in large pots on either side. There's a big double door there, and left and right it opens up into two cloisters, one small and one big. And she says, if you wouldn't mind, I would take you to the kitchens where we may sit at a table large enough to accommodate all of us.
I'm just going to look at the horses.
They will be attended to.
Well, that sounds lovely.
Got any ale?
We have some ale. We brew some here.
It's hoppery. With a smooth finish.
Disappointment.
It's a house of knowledge.
Yeah, but it is
a
on
house of
dwarves.
knowledge. Yeah.
Bagric says, here's a thought. Get some dwarven ale.
Hey! Banter.
We also have a small chapel to Sigmar, she says, pointing to the far corner, sort of looking around, and then sort of decides that's probably not a good idea. Very well, most travellers who come here wish to say something to him.
All right.
I'm not sure. So she takes you to the left, and you can see that the far wall of the cloister is just the large wall of the building. On your left, there are doors into simple-looking cells, or monks' cells, as they're called. And then on your right, there's various doors. There's a little chapel at the end, what looks like kitchens, and then an entranceway into some sort of dining hall. But no one's in there right now. It's completely empty, and she leads you into there. And large tables with kind of simple benches around, big simple wooden treated, tables and benches. And there is a young monk, standing in the corner, and she says, "Initiate, if you would fetch ale for our visitors, and perhaps a little bread and cheese." And he nods and leaves the room. And she sits down. So, this interesting group of travellers arrive with a warning.
Pulls out the pipe again.
This is a no smoking area now.
Bagric doesn't hold it.
Be my guest. Well, now you're ready. There was a warning.
More than one, it may seem. Corvin?
Thank you, Morgan. We were in Ubersreich earlier today, and we chased a necromancer out of town, and are led to believe he's actually heading here to the House of Humble Thoughts via some underground tunnels. No, overland. Caught a boat on his way here.
Bastard escaped. Put a bolt through his arm, though.
Obviously, he doesn't have a sign saying necromancer. He would be in disguise.
You may as well do.
We think we beat him here.
Why did you mention the tunnels?
We heard they've been overrun lately with undead, and we were going to have a look at them. Sort of
She looks concerned.
clear the cobwebs, as it were.
And the rest.
Oh, jeez.
What's the worry with the tunnels?
Our reliquary is down in the tunnels.
I'm just going to look at Torvald with a kind of, the what? on his face.
all of our most holy items are there, and our most treasured tomes.
No.
Vault, brother. I'll say in Kazalid.
Yeah.
Vault.
She says
Kind of
yes,
nod.
vault in Kazalid. She speaks Kazalid.
Yeah.
Are there guards down there as well?
The Knights of the Order protect us, and some are stationed down there with the reliquary.
Have they seen anything odd lately?
No,
Oh.
not that they have said. I'm sure they would mention undead clamouring through the tunnels.
I would imagine so.
Wasn't it your friend that said that they were down there? Just looking at Morgan.
I'm hoping the situation is more specific to Moore's Field. However, given our other news, we wanted to make sure that you were safe here.
Very well. And you say a necromancer is heading here?
Mhm.
With... alone?
No.
Unlikely. He sustained, as my brother says, injuries. It's highly unlikely he would make the journey here unaccompanied. Certainly
Apparently.
not given the other.
Apparently there's something he wants here, some kind of knowledge.
There is much knowledge here. There are many tomes of magical study and thought.
It's probably what the bastard's after.
Given the skills that we've seen him make use of, it would be best if he didn't receive any further information on such studies.
There's like a little chutney that can go on the cheese. Well, of course we wouldn't allow
It's making me hungry.
access to anyone directly to most treasured... I made that chutney myself.
It's delicious.
Um,
I'm so hungry now.
interesting, though, that you say they have filled the tunnels, but no one is attacked, and yet he is heading here.
We are unsure of their number. We thought speed was of the essence.
Last place we encountered him was a warehouse full of bodies. Looks like they've been
Literally.
collecting them.
Full of bodies.
Aye, in crates.
That sounds disgusting.
They didn't last long.
Well, we are we're an order of monks.
That's why we thought you could use some help.
Well, we appreciate your approach. I find this troubling news. I must go and talk with the others. If you would wait here. I must still wake a few.
I mean, none of you tested that food for poison.
We did, you say? Yeah. We make her toughness
Corvin's our canary.
in all things. Social, food, combat.
Also, the guards mentioned it when we arrived. Sorry, the knights. There were some goblin drums, we believe, we heard in the distance.
To the west.
These roving clans coming closer to the tribes, coming closer to the walls. Occasionally, some of them get bold enough to come up and try and approach, but they are brave warriors and they protect us well. Yes, it is troubling.
Are there many of them?
Goblins.
No.
There are lots of goblins.
Your knights.
There's a score and more protecting the walls. Protecting us. Yes. I will be back shortly. You're eating all the food. Okay. Cool. So you're sitting there tucking into some food.
Yeah.
Doing anything else? You know, nose around or
None of
Yeah.
them.
talk to the
Kind of pace around.
initiate boy standing in the corner? He's just standing there.
What does the initiate boy look like?
He's like 5'8", brown hair. You know?
Monkey
Cassock.
robes? Yeah.
Yep.
You've seen undead before, boy.
He looks at you like, no, and I never hoped to, Master Dwarf.
And I hope to keep it that way.
Yes.
Guessing I haven't come this far.
I have read many books about them, though. About many things. The temple has many tomes.
Oh, a library.
Yes, he sort of points at the wall, which is the wall that the main temple that you go up the stairs into is behind, and he's sort of gesturing. The main temple itself is the library.
Oh, I'd very much like to see that.
The old temple, which is what started here, is now the school, where we learn, and new monks come and take lesson, and the older monks teach. And in the years in between, we spend our time learning and sharing, and some of the local people come up here and ask for our help or information or arbitration, and we help where we can. We do what we can, and the priestess helps, the nobles of the area with important decisions from time to time.
What about recently?
He seems to sort of be a little bit sheepish when you say that, and looks at you, unsure of what to say.
Had any involvement with this whole dwarf coming to a Bizarre thing?
Gives you the same look that you just gave back.
Don't worry, lad. We're not here to hurt you.
It's not really my place to say. There's, the young Freuds came here from occasionally to consult priestess and read of tomes on statecraft and agriculture and mining, I've been told. They were wise leaders. It's strange what has occurred.
Have you seen them since the trouble started?
No. I rarely see any visitors. You're the first visitors I've seen in a long time. I'm normally working in the kitchens or in the cellar. I hear they've gone into their castle retreat in the mountains.
Do you think they're bad, like some of the manlings are saying?
I don't know. I don't.
What's your opinion, lad?
I don't get involved with politics.
How long have you been here?
A couple of seasons.
Local lad?
Yes.
You might be able to help me then. I'll pull out the maps.
Okay.
Or pull out some maps and lay them out on the table and go, if you're a local lad, come and help. I want to see if you can, and basically get him interested in the maps and see if he can help me and see if he actually knows the area as well as he might do.
He comes over and he says, "It's quite good. Would you care to see the library? I could show you some of our maps."
Got any dowie books in it? Dwarf.
Oh, yes.
Like short stories.
Brilliant.
I don't
Corbin
think so.
just say that?
No.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of maybe.
Very quiet.
Very quiet. He says, "Let's go to. I'm
Bagrick's going to give him the
they won't
stare.
mind."
That basically says, "Say that again, and I'm going to hurt you."
Corn added to the list of things he can't say again.
Are we tall tales next?
Everyone make perception rolls.
I'm terrible at perception, Pete. Stop making
Take your helmet off.
Oh my god!
Never.
I think I just passed my first perception test in this game.
I would never remove my helmet. It is my face.
I got a critical pass on perception.
8.
Okay, you passed. Okay, you hear a distant
Drum.
smash.
Oh.
Where did that come from?
Shing! chop off his head.
From my
Sir Lancelot.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, I get built up in my own idiom.
Gets carried away.
from my
What was that noise?
Corvin, as you're sitting there and this young lad is talking to you, you're talking to him, and his back is to the door to the kitchen, and you notice Bagrick's ears twitch, and he sort of looks around, and as you look past the boy, you see a very faint trace of wisp under the door, the black smoke that you'd seen before when you had encountered the skeletons in the warehouse.
Corbin stands up.
When you say a smash, I mean from my
It's
crit.
just like
can I
someone dropped a pot or something.
Okay.
You
can I
heard it because you got...
a crit.
Yeah.
Can I tell how far away?
From the kitchen. And he seems to not
anyone
have
else
noticed.
in,
And he's
is
like,
anyone in the
"Oh,
kitchen, lad?
Oh no, everybody's asleep. at this
Bagrick's
hour.
just
I'm
going to
the
get
only-
up, drawing
I'm
an
the
axe, and walk straight to the kitchen.
Master Dwarf, I
There's
think...
dark magic in the kitchen.
Kill the witness.
No, he's not going. He's walking straight past the
I'll
kid.
fetch the...
Out of the way, lad.
You should now.
He backs
Yeah,
against the wall.
Just walking straight to the kitchen,
Okay. You walk to the corner of the room.
sort of
I'm
unslinging
gonna
the shield.
shout to the initiative, someone help. As I walk towards the kitchen.
Let's check it first.
I will.
It's the Torvald as the initiate goes to move. Torvald has one hand on his shoulder, and one hand grabbing the crossbow onto the table.
You're using him as a human shield.
No, I'm holding him to make sure he doesn't go in. Draw the crossbow back and load it so it's sat on the table, so I
Okay.
can hold it on the table and hold on to it. Going, don't worry. Believe me, there is nothing in there that is more scary than my brother.
Crazy demon of corn.
Challenge accepted.
What's in this book?
Followed by
Okay, so you head over to the door.
yeah,
The door's closed.
just kind of knocking it open with the shield.
Okay. You open the door. And you enter into a room with kind of sideboards. There's a table for chopping meat to one side and various other things. And you can see that there's a kind of round a corner, there's a little staircase going down into a basement. Beyond which there seems to be large casks or kind of drums with metallic caps on, sort of some sort of brewery area beyond, which briefly catches your eye as a dwarf. Corvin, as I assume you're kind of... Yeah, and Morgan, you're all
pretty
kind
closely
of,
behind.
You're all
Bagrick
kind of
to
pressing
be
up.
there.
Well, I was pacing anyway.
Sure. Yeah, you're
Turn on my heel and
and as the door opens, you can see that there are thin traces of this strange, dark, creeping mist coming up around, and
In the basement here.
your nostrils are filled with the scent of rotting flesh, but you feel that perhaps your companions are not smelling this as well.
Helmets on.
This was coming up from the basement here.
It seems to be creeping around from that area, yes.
Okay.
Can I see where the thing's smashed?
It seems to... You can't see a smashed thing here. Maybe it's
All right.
further downstairs.
I'm gonna go downstairs.
Okay.
Morgan. I sense necromancy. And point. Stride towards.
Okay. As you move towards the staircase, the boy runs back in, and he says, "There's what?" And he looks stunned and shocked, and you then suddenly hear screaming and shouting and the sound of fighting outside in the courtyard of the cloister of the House of Humblethorpe. And we will leave it there.
Dun dun dun.
Cool. Right, well, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed episode 7 of Flint and Steel Season 3. Please don't forget to go and check out all our social media links below and our Discord. We've got loads of cool stuff going on there. Recently, the Map Chat crew have been offering up maps to the RPG Writers Workshop. On a Twitter thing going on, so go and check that out on Twitter, and some comments about it on our Discord. If you've enjoyed what you've seen and you're not already a patron, please consider supporting the channel. Just for a couple of dollars a month, you can help us to improve the channel, get all the kit and gear that we need, and play new games and all kinds of stuff. And we give you guys some pretty cool stuff in return. Thank you if you are one of our patrons. You guys are awesome. Check out our other shows. Check out friends of the channel, the Thornless Rose with their lasery leathery goods, the Old World podcast, who will tell you lots of stuff about Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, the setting, the history, the products, and Bjørn Felle, our very own Mark, who produces terrifying retro electro music. And his album's out right now, so go and check it out. Oh no, it's out soon.
Out soon.
Out soon. The single's out, but the album's out soon. Go and check it out. Yes, but other than that, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Flint and Steel. Bye-bye.